Who is that? Hi, everyone. Even though I cannot see who is here. I don't know what that means. Tell you what, let's do this. I have no idea. How y'all doing this evening? On this Saturday evening. I'm sure most of us are stuck inside, maybe in some states, but not here in Virginia. We're not quarantined, even though we should be in. But yeah, I'm gonna let a few more people come on. I want to discuss this to get y'all's opinion on this. And I cannot tell who's here until you guys say something. For whatever reason, it's not showing me. Maybe I've done something wrong. Let's see. Nope. Maybe not. Who's here already? I have no idea. What does that do? Maybe I should go out and back in. How you guys doing tonight? I keep seeing people come in and then they go away, so I'm just wondering who's here. And before I start talking, because I need some interaction from you guys, if you will. But basically what I want to discuss is this. My cousin sent me a post from Plies on Instagram, and I'm just kind of curious to know what you guys think about it. He said that, and when this is done, I'll see if I can paste it. I did copy the link. I'll see if I can paste it and copy it here. But he said a real woman, basically right now, a real woman's, his description is a little more descriptive than mine, his topic. But he just said a real woman's stock is going through the roof right now. So I want to know what you guys think about that. I mean, we're all women, period. But what he would consider a real woman, a woman that can cook. Let me see, I wrote some things down. He said a woman that's got their own, that can cook, that knows how to prioritize, that we're worth more than a diamond. He said our stock went through the roof overnight. Now, this was about 4 or 5 days ago, when everything started, the whole coronavirus outbreak, and speaking of being quarantined and things like that. Excuse me. So what I'm saying is this. There's nothing wrong with what he said. That's his opinion. That's not what this is about. What I'm saying is this: now is not the time for women to get desperate. Don't go out here and start doing things just to have someone spend time with you. You might start hearing from men that you don't normally hear from or haven't heard from in a long time. But just because, just like he said, a real woman's stock is going through the roof right now. Now is not the time to sell yourself short just because, like he said, a real woman, someone that can cook and knows how to prioritize, you have to know who you are and know your worth and pay attention to the people that are reaching out to you, wanting to, quote unquote, just like when wintertime starts and then people they actually want to come through and cuddle up with you, a cuddle buddy or whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the right terms right now, but you guys understand where I'm coming from. So what I'm saying is be mindful of those things. Know who you are, know your worth. And then for the women that, he also spoke on women. He made a comment about women. He said, all of you, the women with the big behinds and the small waist, he was basically saying that these women, I've heard some refer to them as Instagram models. Okay. So, and down in the comments, a couple of people had said something about, yeah, now we see these guys, they don't want a woman with, a pretty face and drinking detox tea, okay, is what they were referring to. So, they had their fun with it and everything. So all I'm saying is, with what's going on in the world right now, we have to sit down and really pay attention to what's going on around us and think about the things that we have done, just the things that we've put out here in this world as to speak of who we are as a person. So it's time for us to really figure out who we are. That's each and every one of us. And that doesn't go not just for women, but for men as well. And I will say this to the men. Now is the time for you. Don't go to someone just to have somewhere to go or someone to spend time with because we have to be quarantined or you have to be quarantined. Don't go to a person telling lies, basically. Let's just put it out there, because some men will do that. They will go and just say whatever needs to be said just to spend time or to get what they want from someone during this time. And that's not right. That's just not right. You have to think about that, because when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, when it's all over with and this person is looking to you to still be there and spend time with them, what are you going to do? And then also, this is something that I have told my son and other young men: do not allow anyone else to make choices and decisions for your future. Okay? And what I mean by that is this: if you go out here and you lay up with someone because you don't have anything else to do right now, you just want a warm body next to you or someone to chill with during this time, but you're not being responsible, and you end up getting somebody pregnant, now you're with someone, you have that responsibility for the rest of your life, basically. So you don't allow anyone to make choices and decisions for your future, is what I'm saying. So, and then all too often, and then men, they want to blame the woman. Well, she tricked me, or she got pregnant, or whatever. They can't do what you allow. So basically what I'm saying is it's time out for all of that. We're too old. I hate to say too old, but it's time out for all of that. It's time for us to start thinking about who we are as individuals, as adults, and start acting responsibly. And I know that right now the kids are out of school and they're watching you. A lot of times people don't pay attention to what their kids are actually seeing. I know I didn't think about that when my kids were younger. They're grown now, 22 and 25. There are certain things that I didn't think about because I felt like as long as I told them what to do, I was always telling them what to do. But you have to show them as well as tell them. Your actions have to match up to what you are saying. And when I tell y'all something else, that young men pay attention to their fathers. They do. You can tell them all day long what not to do. And then you think just because they see you going to work all the time, they also see you doing other things. They see you when you're entertaining company. All right. They see you entertaining women and you don't think they know you have company in your room. I have 2 kids. Once again, they're grown now and they've told me this stuff. They shared these things with me. You know, they've shared these things with me when I was married. I'm going to be truthful, you know, put it out there with y'all. When I was married, and Linda, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm glad to see you here, and I hope you're doing well, cousin. I'm worried. I'm not worried. I'm concerned for you, but I hope you're doing well. Now, back to the topic. When my kids have told me, you know, because I'm divorced, so my kids, they had split time between my ex-husband and myself. And when I was married, I remember, this is back when pagers were, you know, out and things like that. My ex-husband, I remember waking up one night to this buzzing. I was like, what is that? You know, I couldn't figure out what it was. So eventually I got up and I'm looking around trying to figure out what this is. And it was a pager. I found a pager. He had a separate pager, okay, that he was using that was his way of contact with other young women. I had no idea about at this point. All right. So, and this young woman, she was much younger than he was. I think she may have been about 20 years old. Had to be at least 30 at this time. So what I'm saying to you is this right here. You have to pay attention. Your kids know. And our son, he told me one day we were driving down the highway, and he said, over there, mommy, over there. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, over there, this is McDonald's. We drove past McDonald's. He said, over there, that's where daddy's girlfriend works. And I said, what? He said, yeah, daddy's girlfriend works over there at that McDonald's. So of course I went on, I did what I had to do because I was going to drop something off. So on the way back, we made a stop at daddy's girlfriend's job. I wanted to see. I said, well, this is a perfect time because the kids, you know, then I don't have to go home and cook. They'll get McDonald's tonight. They're going to get a treat. But let's go see where his girlfriend works. So wouldn't it be, y'all, that she was in the drive-through window? She was in the drive-through window. And my kids are in the back seat. My son said, that's her right there, mommy. I said, wow, really? He said, yeah, that's her. So let me tell y'all something. Excuse me. When I tell you that kids pay attention to what you do, they pay attention to what you do. So now is not the time to be entertaining people that are not someone that you have not already had as a part of your life, someone that means something to you, and you're planning to go the long haul with them because they are watching you and it affects them. Okay. He also told me one day, daddy ain't loyal to nobody. He told me this when he was a teenager. He was living with my ex-husband at this point. So he was paying attention. You're watching the different women coming in and out. Okay. So he's paying attention to this. And all my ex-husband is thinking is, well, he sees me getting up, going to work every day. I'm a hard worker. Okay, what does that have to do with anything else? You're showing him that you go to work every day, but that's all you're showing him. You're also showing him that you're not loyal to anyone. I'm basically saying and giving you examples. Now is not the time for people to start getting desperate and doing desperate things. Desperate measures do not call, or desperate behavior, desperate times don't call for desperate measures. Whatever the saying is, you guys know what I'm talking about. That's not what this is about. Now it's about the time for you guys to turn inward to yourself. We have to go back to the way they used to do things years ago. It used to be at a point where we would go to church to get prayer. Now you got to pray for yourself. Get down on your knees and pray for yourself. That's what you're going to have to do. And ask God to show you who you are. Start working on yourself so you can do what you need to do for you. And once again, like Plies was saying in the video, uh, real women, their stock is going up right about now. I mean, a real woman has always been what it is, period. So I'm not sure. The only thing I can gather is what he is considering not a real woman. I'm not saying this. We're all women, period. If you're a woman, you're a woman, period. And there's nothing, I'm not saying you're not real. There may be some things that have happened, but what you have done does not define who you are. So you're still a real woman, okay? So that's one thing that women have to understand, women and men. The things that you have done do not define who you are, because you can turn that thing around. As far as the things that you have done, you can turn that around. If God says you're a woman or a man, then that's who you are. That's just what it is. So based off of his description, the small waist, the big butt, pretty face, and then like they said down in the comments, and the detox tea, that's not what a man is looking for right now. What I'm saying is, think about this, think about who you are as a person, and just that comment alone that he made will tell you, get yourself together. That's all I'm saying. Know your worth and get yourself together, okay? That's the bottom line. Know who you are, spend time with your children. It's not the time to be worried about if Jimmy, John, or whoever gonna come over and spend time with you during this time, and then you trying to test them to see if they really care about you. Let all that stuff go, because then you want to figure out, I wonder, girl, if he really likes me like that. You know, I'm gonna see if he gonna come over here and spend time with me and me and the kids, because we can't go nowhere. Don't worry about all that. That's not important. What's important is you. You are important. Your children are important, and they need you, and they are watching you. And I thought about that as my daughter was growing up. I had to be mindful of that. You have to set the example for them. And I love it when people tell me that my daughter is just like me. Her what's the right word? The way she moves about, the way she carries herself. It says just like my mom and myself, because the way I carry myself, I watch my own mother. And then I know my daughter is watching me. I've known that for a long time. I'm going to give you another story. It's kind of embarrassing. When my daughter was about, I want to say about 5 or 6 years old, she was outside playing in the backyard with her brother and some of the other neighborhood kids. They were playing. And she had her bike outside, and she couldn't ride her bike at the time, but her brother was trying to teach her how. So some of the other kids were asking to ride her bike, you know, but she was a bossy little thing. She was real bossy at that time. And I was like, where is she getting this stuff from? But I didn't pay attention to it, you know. So one day I heard them, they were outside playing, and I peeked out of the window just to kind of peep out and see what they were doing. But I could also hear them. And when I tell y'all, she was in that backyard just going off, just fussing, just going off, had her hand on her hip and just pointing her finger at the other little kids and telling them what to do. I was like, I did not like that. I said, where is she getting this from? Guess where she was getting it from? From me. She was getting that from me. Watching me. When I get on them, that's what she was seeing, me. That didn't look good, and it didn't make me feel good as a mother to know that that is the picture that my daughter was getting of me. That right there is when everything about me started to change. She was 5 or 6 years old. I remember at that time, I want to say she was about 6. And I did not realize what I was giving off, you know, what I was putting out there. I didn't realize it. But they do, they pay attention to you. They really do. Little girls are watching, their moms, our sons are watching their dads. So they see all this stuff. And I see all these different videos on Facebook and all, you know, when you got the little boys cussing and just walking around with their pants sagging down, just all types of stuff. And when you see this stuff, it's really sad, because you know they're getting it from somewhere. They didn't just decide one day, wake up and I'm gonna let my pants hang down, and they're cursing. They're paying attention to what's going on in their house. So it is not the time to get desperate. And a lot of times we don't recognize what is desperate. So pay attention to your behavior. Think about it. If you got someone in your house that you're not feeling, if you got to argue and be carrying on with someone like that, that's not the person for you. You got to let that go. You got to let it go. You got to figure out who you are as a human, as a woman, as a man. God did not mean for us to live in this way. You have to create peace and prosperity, inner peace. Inner peace creates and brings outer peace. Whatever's inside of you is going to come out by way of the way you act, the way you carry yourself, what you are showing your children. Your kids will show you exactly what you're putting out, because they're going to act it out for you right in front of you. And then guess what? They'll go to school and do the same thing. You got to worry about them going to school right now and doing it, because the schools are going to be closed. But what I'm saying is, even if you pay attention long enough, pay attention to what your kids are showing you. Pay attention to what they are showing you. You will find out exactly who you are as a person. I'm telling you this. And I can say even this, my daughter now, she's almost 22. And at one point, she was so anxious about everything. She worried all the time about everything. And once again, she was getting that from me. I was projecting my fears, my worries, everything on to her. And it was coming out by way of anger. And she was just full of anxiety. So I had to stop. Now it bothers me. It used to, and I just felt so bad. I felt like, I would ask myself or say, look at what you did to her. But now as a woman, I'm able to talk to her. Now that I know who I am as a woman, God has shown me who I am and me loving myself. So I'm able to love all over her, both of my children, and show them who they are as well, and have them turn to God so he can show them exactly who they are and what they should be doing in life. And this is what we want to do right now. Now's the time to teach our babies, teach them, love on them, love on ourselves. You got to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself first, create inner peace. You will not be able to project it outward. And love your children. You won't be able to do any of that if you're not paying attention to what's going on around you. If you focus on John and Steve and Bob and Chris and Eric and all these other people out here, if you focused on them and want to know if they're going to slide through tonight, or if they're going to stay here, come and be quarantined with you and the kids so he can eat up all your groceries and drink up all the kids' juice box drinks and stuff, you ain't thinking. Don't let nobody come through using you like that. And men, don't do that. Stay away. Don't do that. There are so many people out here that, just the way this world is right now, I'm not understanding it. I can't fix it by myself. I ain't trying to fix it all by myself. You know what? The world is dependent on me. It's dependent on you, all of us, to do our part. Right now is a time for everybody to lean in. We should be doing this anyway, to God, getting on our knees in prayer and asking God to show us who we are. Because right now, when you know who you are, we can all do our part. We can come together and do our part as a whole and help one another out. But you have to know who you are in order to do that. If you don't know who you are, if you're worried about what the next man is doing, this man, if he's going to spend that time with you. And then anybody that's trying to get over on that woman, oh my goodness, y'all. I was in a grocery store the other day, and I wanted to jump on the back of this man's, jump on his back and put him in a headlock, snatch his phone out of his hand. But that wouldn't have been right. I'm going to tell y'all, this man, well, he looked like a young man. He couldn't have been an older guy. He looked like a young man. He was on his cell phone. He's telling somebody, had to be another guy, how, oh yeah, I was talking to this other girl. She was a Virgo. I was talking about 3 Virgos at one time. I was like, wow. And this one was tall, and but from each one I'm getting a little bit of this because she was like that. And then this one over here, she was like this. And I'm pretty sure none of them knew about each other, is what I'm saying. See, I'm going to tell you, with that right there, when you lean into God, when you surrender to God and you lean into Him so He can show you who you are, and you start loving on Him and He's loving on you, that's a love like you've never experienced before, I'm going to tell you what'll happen. Things will change for you. You will not sell yourself short. You will be able to pick up on these things that they are showing you. And that goes for men and women, because there are some men that allow women to use them up in that same way. God will show you exactly who you are. It's going to change everything, the way you move. I'm telling you it will. See, because at that point, when you've surrendered to Him and you have the Holy Spirit dwelling inside of you, you got a best friend on the inside of you that knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. And He's discerning for you and He's letting you know, but you got to develop that spiritual relationship with Him. See, we got to always go back. It comes down to one thing, our Creator, going back to our Creator. When you go back to where it began, the one that created you, so He can show you who you are and what you need to be doing, especially during this time of need right here with what's going on in today's world. Because see, that's what's happening. We're having to go back. If you pay attention to the very beginning, we're having to go back to the beginning of when it all started, or when our moms and our dads, our parents were being taught at home. You couldn't always go to school or church, because if you think about it, and my pastor was preaching about this, church is not in a building. Church is on the inside of you. Church is wherever you create it. It's wherever you want to have it. Think about God and Jesus when He walked this earth in the flesh as man. He walked around teaching everybody. He taught inside of people's houses. That's what He did. So it's time to go back to the beginning, is what I'm saying. It's time out for all of this nonsense. And Plies, that video right there. And like I said, when I'm done, I'm going to see if I can paste it. I copied the link. I'm going to try to paste it here so you guys can watch it. It'll direct you to Instagram, I'm sure. But like I said, he said the importance of a real woman. He said, boy, right now, let me tell you, the importance of a real woman, their stock is going up right about now. I'm like, wow, really? That's something. Because see, a real woman has always been in style. Only thing is, there are just some women that don't understand who they are. And they don't recognize when their behavior is desperate, when they're giving off desperate behavior, just self-sabotaging actions, the things that they're doing, they don't recognize it. They don't recognize what they're doing. And you think this person is loving you and want to be with you. Nah, they're just filling you up. They tell you whatever you want to hear. Some women do it to men and men do it to women. Tell you whatever you want to hear just so they can get what they want from you right now. Oh, and there's another video. Let me tell you about this one here. See, I'm going now. But there was another video that I looked at, and someone posted it inside of a group that I belong to, and he said I can't think of the topic, but the young man was a sociopath. He was a sociopath. And basically what that means is this: he knew how to read people and tell you whatever you wanted to hear to get whatever he wanted to get out of you. And he said that he had a real personality disorder. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and there were some other things in there. I mean, he had a good mixture of things going on. And he said it. He said he knows how to read people, and he learned how to do this from the time he was a young boy in school, in elementary school. He said he never understood why people would get, when they're happy and they're, very joyous and they're jumping up and down. He said, I don't understand why people act like that. That's not going to make you happier because you're jumping up and down Or when people are sad and they're crying, he's like, why? He was unable to experience emotion, but he learned how to do that just so he could give a person what they needed, so he could get what he needed out of them. And this is a lot of times women, we don't pay attention to what's going on. We're so desperate just wanting to be with someone that we don't pay attention to enough to realize that people are reading us. What they do is they read you, they will read you. And they can figure it out just like that, to know that you are desperate and you just want someone in your life. So when you're telling them all your business, what you want, how you want it, when you want to do it, and guess what? They're telling you everything you want to hear. Everything you want to hear. But if you stop long enough and listen to what they are saying to you, and understanding, first of all, dating is for data. Dating is for data. It is not for you to go out here and you, girl, he cute, he look good, you know, and you just, you feeling all sorts of ways right now, and your mind is all over the place. You're not even thinking like you're supposed to be thinking right now. He could show you anything that's not for you, and you missing all types of red flags because your mind is in the wrong place. And this is what I'm saying. You got to know who you are as a woman, period. A child of God. You are a child of God. You are his daughter, God's daughter. If the same things that you are doing, if you don't want your daughter doing it, if it was your daughter, would you be okay with her doing exactly what you're doing? Would you be okay with that? Ask yourself that. If you wouldn't be okay with it, you don't need to be doing it either. If your daughter can't sit and witness you, what you're doing, your daughter or your son, men, if your daughter or your son can't witness you, sit with you and watch what you got going on, you got company and they can't sit and learn from you, you don't need to be doing it. And I'm not talking about learning how to be a player and all this stuff. That's not what you want. That shouldn't be what you want for your child. You want them to recognize who they are as people, love themselves so they can love other people in a healthy way, and not try to get over on people just to get what they want out of them. You know, because a lot of people with some of these illnesses and stuff that happen, these personality disorders, they come about in our kids when they're younger, when they're going through things, but we're too busy focused on other stuff, and we don't realize what our kids have going on because we're too busy trying to get something else going on. Get a man up in a house, or trying to get a woman over so we can get some, or do what we're going to do. So you're not paying attention to your children. And I'm telling y'all, I was one of those people that, even though I took care of my kids, don't get me wrong, but I was one of those people that I was always wondering who's going to be my husband. And even when I got married and then got divorced, who was going to be my next husband? I wasn't paying attention. I was taking care of them. I was a dutiful mom, making sure I taught them and they knew the things they needed to know. But right now, I would go back if I could, just to love on them a little bit harder. Just to take the time to play and to talk to them more. Because I was such a dutiful mom, teaching them things, that I didn't take enough time to play. You know, just hug on them and play with them. I was too busy raising them that I didn't give them, balance that thing out. And then also wondering, okay, who's going to be my next husband so we can get things started, so we can do what we need to do to bring this family dynamic back together. But see, what you got to understand is, if it's just you, if you're a single parent, you already got a family dynamic. God is the father. You don't need a man to come in there and do, because see, God already knows what you're going through, and he already knew prior to you getting in that situation that you would be in it, and he's already provided for you. He's already set things up for you to get what you need for your children, to get what they need. But in order for you to know that, you got to turn to him. You're not going to know it if you focus on other things. If your mind is all messed up and you're not at peace on the inside. And that's another thing, peace and prosperity. In order for you to get the peace and the prosperity that you need in order to succeed, you got to sit down and take some time to yourself and allow God to love on you. Listen to him. And see, another thing and I told my daughter this today, a lot of times when God is calling people, they ignore their call. They ignore it because they're afraid. Don't be afraid of what he's calling you to, because if he's calling you to it, he's going to prepare you for it, period. Don't worry about what the next person doing. It's not your business. You are your business and your children. That's it. Bottom line. And whatever God is telling you to do. Once again, if you're listening and you got the Holy Spirit down on the inside of you, he's dwelling inside of you. Y'all, when I tell you, you are missing out on the Holy Spirit and his goodness, on God and his goodness. See, you just picking and choosing what you want to do. Don't pick and choose. Allow the Holy Spirit to lead the way. God has already created the plan. All you got to do is follow the path, and the Holy Spirit will help you do that. The Holy Spirit is going to help you do it. He's right there for you. So you got to stop with all this nonsense that we got going on in this world right now. Once again, like Plies said, real women, our stock has gone up. A real woman's stock has gone up by way of, a woman that knows how to cook, that's got her own, and she's knows how to prioritize. She's worth more than a diamond right now. He said your stock just went through the roof. And all I'm saying is, as a woman, that right there alone should tell you that it's time out for all the nonsense. It's time out for the Instagram posing and entertaining all these different people so they can take care of you. You're out here entertaining so people can provide for you. See, now what happens because these, the same men that were providing for you, they can't. Maybe there are entrepreneurs and their businesses may not necessarily be prospering right now, depending on what they do. I don't know. But I know one thing, if you're in God's will, I'm sorry, y'all, I had something to pop up, but I can tell you this, if you're in God's will, you're going to prosper. You sure will, in more ways than one. That inner peace is priceless. It is priceless. That's what I'm saying. So don't allow what's going on right now in this world cause you to get desperate and go out here and start doing desperate things, entertaining people that you wouldn't normally entertain. Stop entertaining, period, and get on your knees and pray and ask God to show you who you are. Pay attention to your children. That's who you need to be entertaining, teaching them, loving them, showing them who they are, so they can be the best people they can be. If you don't know who you are, you can't be the best person you should be, that God created you to be. And you can't teach your children how to be that either. You can't do anything if you're not right in here first. You got to be right in here and in here. God is the one that will give you that inner peace and that inner joy. But to have a man say, a real woman, your stock has gone up overnight, that goes to show you, that shows men, that shows women, what have you been doing? What are you doing? You're out here entertaining these women, certain women, on Instagram, like he said, with the small waist, the big butt, the pretty smile, just because of who they are, what they look like, versus who they are as a person. And then women accepting that in exchange to be taken care of, instead of knowing who you are yourself, instead of leaning into God, surrendering to him. These men, that is not the answer. God is the answer. He is a creator of all. He is the answer. Spend time with your babies during this time. Spend time with yourself. Nurture yourself. Nurture your children. Now's the time when you know who you are and you know what your God-given purpose is. We can all nurture one another by way of what it is God has called us to do. But if you don't know who you are and what he has called you to do, you can't even nurture yourself right now. You waiting on somebody else to come through to do what they do, to take care of you. You waiting to see if he gonna come over and give you what you need. But see, he's got a whole list of them he's got to entertain, that he's got to go check on. You just one of the few. Is that what you want, to be one of the few? No, you don't. You can take care of yourself, love yourself, allow God to love you and show you who you are. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to leave it here. Now is not the time to get desperate. Okay? Now is not the time for that, to be entertaining anyone or allowing men just to do what they do. You ain't heard from them and God knows when, but they decide they want to reach out to you now. One young lady, she commented, she said, no wonder I've been getting texts from guys that I hadn't talked to. Hey, big head. Oh, now they want to talk. Whereas before, like she said, because she could cook and she had her own, when a man is not willing to step up to the plate and do what he's supposed to do, it's always somebody right there waiting to scoop him right on up, let him come in and do exactly what he want to do at the expense of your worth and your peace. And your kids are watching. They're watching. And then your daughter's going to go out here and do exactly what you're doing because she thinks that it's okay. That's what mom did. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. So realize who you are so we can all come together and take care of one another by way of whatever our purpose is. So, and my phone is still going off, y'all. I'm sorry. It was something else I wanted to mention, but I cannot even remember what it is right now. I should have written it down. It just came to mind. Oh, wow. It's going to bother me. But I'm going to see if I can post that in here once I share this video. I'm going to post his video for you guys to see, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And y'all give me your opinions down below. Post them in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think about this, okay? But I'm going to go. I just had to put this out here that now is the time that we need to be praying. Get on our knees and pray, because we're going back to the way things used to be. We're quarantined and we can't do a whole lot. We got to pray for ourselves. Church is inside of us. Church is in your house. You know, now's the time you got to read your Bible and understand, because there's one Bible verse and I don't remember it, but God says the ones that will be shaken, and the ones that cannot, because we stand firm in his faith, knowing that we're going to be just fine, will not be shaken. I don't know that verse, but I'm telling you. So all of this anxiety and all this and that, and it's one thing to be concerned and be cautious, take precautionary measures, but do not allow yourself to be shaken. Know who God is. God is everything. He can take care of this with no problem, but you got to know who he is and who you are in him. All right, I'm going now because I'll keep going, but y'all have a good night. I'll talk to y'all later.